Hi, this is Tony Maietta, and I am here to invite you to a premier event, Lucy at the World's Fair. And here to talk about it with me and watch it with me is a World's Fair authority who also moonlights as an Emmy-winning television producer, Mr. Albert Fisher. Thanks for being here, Albert. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
You have the enviable pleasure of being in charge of Lucille Ball for a day in August of 1964 when she came for the World's Fair. What is it like to be in charge of Lucille Ball for a day?
Well, actually, I was one of many people that were involved in Lucy Day at the fair. I was one of the heads of television and motion pictures for the fair. And it was one of the great events that took place during the entire 6-month run of the World's Fair.
Well, let's watch it, because I am dying to see Lucy at the World's Fair.
Okay. This is Lucy arriving on American Airlines at JFK Airport in New York City for the beginning of the festivities.
Oh, so this is her actual arrival in New York.
This is the arrival in New York with Lucy, and Hedda flew on the same flight with her, as you can see.
Yeah.
And of course her husband, Gary Morton. And this is their arrival, getting off of the airplane. They then went into New York City. Lucy stayed at the presidential suite at the Hilton Hotel on 6th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas in New York City. And now Lucy arrives at the New York World's Fair. This takes place at what was called the press gate to the World's Fair, and that's where all of the VIPs would enter. And this was an assembly area where we could line up the celebrities, and in this case, the band and the marchers and everybody. And you see Lucy getting ready here. That's her husband, Gary Morton, on the right-hand side. And there's a white limousine in the background there, which was used to take all of the VIPs around the fair. The man greeting them right now is Bill Burns, who is the Vice President of Public Relations for the World's Fair.
And this is all local press.
Actually, this is a mixture of both local and national press, because Macy's brought out over 100 members of the press from print media from all over the United States, from all of the major newspapers. But clearly, Lucy is excited about, about the start of the day here. And as you can see, there were a lot of photographers and cameramen that started at the beginning of the day and stayed with us throughout the entire, I guess it was about 14 or 15 hours that we spent at the fair. You might be wondering about these strange wigs.
Yes, that was my next question, these wigs.
Yeah, as the official band to accompany Lucy around the fairgrounds, we found in New Jersey a high school called St. Lucie High School. And so we got the band, the St. Lucie Cadets, to come and be the official marching band for the day. And they were all outfitted with these outrageously red clown wigs. I think originally they were wigs that were sold as part of Bozo the Clown outfits. Every member of the band had these, and she had great fun with it.
Come here, boys. Girls, walk over in the grass.
Oh, those are the men now. There's men in them.
Right. When I say they were red, I mean they were like fire engine red. Not at all the more subdued, more subtle red that Lucy has. Now the woman sitting in the car next to Lucy down there with the glasses,
there she is.
That's Lucy's mother.
There's Dee Dee, always there, never far from Lucy's side.
And right now all of the band members are gathered around for a photo op.
My hair is not really that color, is it? How about playing? How about playing Hey Look Me Over? They haven't done it. Let's play a number. Let's play a number. We want to get some sound.
The outfit she has on there is an original designed by Edward Stevenson for her. But you can see it in color on the episode Lucy and Danny Kaye, which is on the set of the Lucy show. It's a beautiful creation.
And this is one of 3 wardrobes that Lucy will wear during the course of the day. Now the band is assembling to start the actual march and parade through the fairgrounds.
Is that the Long Island Expressway behind her?
Yes, it is.
Queens, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right, and actually this was the same physical site as the equally famous 1939 New York World's Fair that featured the Trianon and Perisphere as the centerpiece, and then the 64 World's Fair featured the Unisphere, the largest single replica of the globe of the Earth, which still stands and is a permanent fixture.
Yeah, you can see it when you're on your way to JFK.
Right.
I think Dee Dee's trying to get up there. She's trying to get in the back with Lucy.
Yeah, as nice as an advantage point as this was for people to be able to see a celebrity like Lucille Ball going through the fair, sitting on the top of the car like that was not exactly a comfortable ride.
I'm sure, but Lucy's up there, isn't she?
She was there for the whole day and never complained once.
She's ready to go. Look at her. Let's get going.
Yeah, and you can see how she does some posing because the photographers will call out, you know, one more shot, Lucy, one more, over this way.
Watch it. We gotta move.
This was not an official World's Fair. Is that correct? This was there's official World Fairs and there's unofficial World Fairs.
The 1964 fair was not official as meaning being sanctioned by the International Bureau of Expositions, because in 1962 there had been a sanctioned fair in Seattle, Washington, and only one sanctioned fair is allowed by the IBE in any country in a decade.
So where are we entering here first? She's entering
Well,
the fair?
the building directly in the background there right now, that sloped roof, is the press building of the World's Fair. And we're entering through the gate. Now we're actually on the fairgrounds itself. As the day proceeds, you will see the crowds get even bigger and bigger and bigger. Because like I say, Lucy was a major attraction.
Those kids had to be hot in those wigs.
And as uncomfortable as those wigs had to have been, you never heard a complaint from
That's
anybody.
wonderful.
I think for these kids, this was one of the great highlights of their young lives.
Yeah.
And Lucy begins her trip through the fairgrounds, waving to all of her fans. And the first pavilion adjacent to the press building was the Hollywood USA. That's me on the left-hand side there,
Oh, there you
actually.
are.
And the primary structure of the Hollywood Pavilion was a replica of the famous Mann's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles.
Yes, please.
And here Lucy signs Love Lucy in the
Standard
cement.
salutation.
And it's right next to the handprints of Lily Scala, who was the Academy Award actress who did the Sidney Poitier movie
Lilies of the Field.
Lilies of
Yes,
the Field.
yes.
Yes, exactly.
So very timely. Very timely.
And there I am right in the center there with
you
the World's
are.
Fair
Hey.
badge on. And all of the press members had these Lucy badges that said Lucy Day Press on them, which are now very coveted by World's Fair memorabilia collectors. And now here's
sure.
Lucy and Hedda Hopper with their hands in the cement.
Louis, would you hold up your hands to us?
Yeah, we should both get your hands up so they can see them.
Hold up your hands.
Well, Hedda was a good friend of Lucy's.
And also, Hedda Hopper was, in her own right, a very popular personality and was known for her large hats.
Yes.
And this was about the time that the hat was starting to tickle Lucy a lot. And she said, "Can you change hats?" We've moved from the Hollywood Pavilion over to the Republic of China. And this is the entrance gates to the Taiwanese Pavilion as Lucy enters on the red carpet. And this is not to be confused with the People's Republic of China. The Republic of China was actually Taiwan. And here Lucy is being greeted by many of the Taiwanese Chinese officials. And there's a dragon dancer. The young people that did the traditional welcoming dance, greeting Lucy and bringing her into the pavilion. You can see some of the umbrellas now have come out because it is starting to rain at this point. Maietta is holding a Traveler's Pavilion umbrella because Traveler's Insurance, the umbrella is their logo, and their pavilion was shaped like a traveler's umbrella. So they had handed these out to everybody. And now Lucy has taken off her hat because the Republic of China have presented her with this beautifully ornate pearl hat that is one of the symbols of the really early dynasty days of Chinese culture. And here a Chinese calligrapher has written in Chinese, I believe it says, "I love Lucy."
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And here's the ceremonial water welcome on the boat. From the Chinese pavilion, we went to Africa. The African pavilion was a very popular exhibit at the World's Fair.
She's got a little doll with her.
And that was a little African ceremonial doll that was presented. Every place that Lucy went, the different international pavilions wanted to give Lucy a souvenir. And they had all these different dancers. They had dancers from Burundi, they had Watusi dancers, they had Zulu dancers.
Wow.
And here a number of them are performing in honor of Lucy. And Lucy was right down in the front row for all of this. Now, one of the attractions at the African Pavilion was the Treehouse Restaurant, and you could look down on the stage. Another one of the big attractions was this giraffe, and you see the window right behind the giraffe.
Yeah.
That's the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And while you dined in the restaurant, the giraffe would come and stick its head right in the window.
Wow.
And people would feed the giraffe. Here's
Maietta's into that.
Maietta's really enjoying the African dancers. And you could see Lucy fanning herself there because it was so hot.
Did she ever flag at all? Or she just, did you know what, I need some time?
You know, actually, Lucy seemed to genuinely enjoy every single moment of the day. I never, in the entire time, ever once heard her complain about anything. Now, because of the rain, they had to put the top up on the car, so now you see her inside the convertible with the top up. And now we are en route from Africa to the Moroccan Pavilion. These are beautiful, wonderful, luscious dates.
They look delicious.
And there you see Didi and Hedda enjoying the dates. The Moroccan Pavilion served Lucy some traditional Moroccan dishes, including Moroccan tea, which you see her sipping. And they would do this tea ceremony where the Moroccan waiters would pour the hot tea and then balance it on these trays with candles.
As they danced.
And they would dance.
I thought he was going over there.
I know, it's all part of their ceremony, and it's beautifully done, and they don't spill a drop of the tea.
Incredible.
And here are the Moroccan performers playing the traditional instruments from Morocco. Here you see he has 2 trays on his head now.
Incredible.
And this is the entrance to the Indonesian Pavilion. As Lucy enters the Indonesian Pavilion, she is being showered with chrysanthemum flower petals, which is a traditional welcoming ceremony for dignitaries by the Indonesians. And here a toast in Lucy's honor. Now here's inside the Indonesian Pavilion for a special lunch given in her honor.
Now that's James Aubrey from CBS.
James Aubrey was the head of CBS television network, and of course Lucy was their premier star. And here Lucy makes a toast with Tom Deegan, the president of the World's Fair Executive Committee. The luncheon that they did at the Indonesian Pavilion was what is called a ristoffel, a rice table, where rice is the primary ingredient, but there are literally scores of other dishes that are presented to be served with the rice. And here one of the representatives of the Indonesian Pavilion presents Lucy with a special gift from the pavilion. And then these are some of the Indonesian officials that were with her as well. Now, this gentleman is Governor Charles Paletti. He was governor at one time of the state of New York, and he was the head of the international division for the World's Fair. And he's presenting Lucy with a gold unisphere on a chain as a necklace. Now, Paletti gets to kiss Lucy on the lips.
There you go. Lucky governor.